This is Minutia Men with Rick and Dave.
I know this is a big surprise to you.
Yeah.
I was sick last week.
Yes,
as
I know. Listeners, I did get a couple of emails because at the end of last episode, we said we'll be back next week, and then we weren't again.
You got some emails about?
Yeah, I got two. I got two emails.
Worried about me?
Yeah, you mentioned, no, they weren't worried about you. They were just wondering why there was no show. Because we said at the end of last episode, we'll be back next week, and then we weren't back.
So no one was concerned about my health?
Well, no one even knew.
Well, like when you're late, let's say you're supposed to be at my house at like 5:30.
Right.
And it's 5:34.
Yeah.
I assume you got into a car accident.
Yeah, but has that ever happened?
What, the car?
That I'm 4 minutes late?
Oh, good point.
Okay.
Well, when my mom was alive,
yeah.
And I would call her on the fourth ring if she wouldn't answer.
Oh.
Yeah, I'd be putting my shoes on.
I'm the same way with my mom. I'm the same way. Like I even, and this is, I can say this on the podcast because she will never listen to it. I track her. I've got a tracker on her, and if I see that she's home and she's not answering the phone,
she's dead.
Yeah,
she's dead.
Yeah,
right.
I'm on my way over there.
So where are her hot spots that she goes to? Rivers Casino.
Have I mentioned that she has one of these watches now, one of these Apple watches, which tracks her steps?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, she kicking your ass with stuff?
Oh, my God. There are days that she doesn't even go for a walk, and she still tops 10,000 steps. Try that someday. Try just being at home, just puttering around the house, and getting more than 10,000 steps.
Well, Zisumble is off. I'm going to have to take them all off and clean them and put them back.
It's almost impossible. I don't know how she does it.
Yeah, I think my mom, too. Yeah, just in a 700 square foot apartment would just get 10,000 steps. Rounded.
So, are you feeling better?
A little bit. I am a little stuffed up, as you can tell, and I'm a little hacky still.
Yeah.
I am negative.
Okay.
Did you ever, whenever you talk about a cough, you have to cough?
Yeah.
I'm okay. My ears are a little clogged up.
But you're a trooper, and you're going to do it for the team, right?
I won't be, it's 75% effort at best.
Well, sure. We'll take it, because it's time for Minutia Men.
The following is a Tony Lasano podcast, an Opie production on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. This is Minutia Men with Rick and Dave.
You've had COVID, right?
I have, yeah.
When did you have it?
I had it, that first year I had it.
So 20?
Yeah. When it was still really scary, I had it.
This iteration or this flavor, I think it's called the flirt flavor.
Yeah.
Flavor. It's terrible.
That's what I hear.
And I kind of forgot about it.
Yeah.
So you kids out there, be careful.
Safe. It's still dangerous.
Hey, this story comes out of New Jersey.
Okay.
And you being an animal lover, I think this might worry you.
Are you calling people from New Jersey animals?
Well, New Jersey man admits to decapitating seagull after it attempted to take fries from his daughter.
Well, okay. I mean, it's not like he did it for no reason.
A South Jersey man is facing charges after authorities say he decapitated a seagull. Well, I just had a vision of a little seagull guillotine, and little other seagulls dressed up in like French military outfits, decapitating. That's not what happened. Officers responded on July 6th to a report.
Let them eat French fries.
Officers responded on July 6th to a report of animal cruelty at Maury's Piers, located at 2501 Boardwalk Avenue. According to court documents obtained by Action News, Frank Ziegler, 29, of Cape May, admitted to killing the seagull after it attempted to take French fries from his daughter.
Yeah.
Okay. He then reported...
Did the seagull buy those French fries?
No.
Right. It was a theft.
It's a freaking socialism.
I mean, come on.
He then reportedly asked Maury's staff for a trash bag while holding the dead body of the seagull in one hand and its head in the other.
I'm using both hands right now. I need help with the
bag. Witnesses say that Ziegler karate chopped the neck of the seagull and then used a knife to saw the head off right in front of his young daughter.
I think that might do more damage than taking the fries away.
On July 18th, he was charged with third-degree animal cruelty after officers obtained witness statements. Now, I've been to Florida.
Yeah.
Okay. And I've been to Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I've eaten, you've eaten at those places where, you're overlooking the water.
Yeah, yeah.
And the seagulls
Are a pain in the ass.
they are, they're irritating. But I've never gone full Steven Seagal.
No.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
Seagal.
Yeah, seagull.
Took me actually 20
This really
minutes.
is dad joke. This is a show of all dad jokes. I've got some coming up, just so you're ready.
Evidently, I'm a much kinder and gentler soul than the Reddit users that I saw this thread on.
Really?
As of this morning, there were 453 comments about this.
Yeah.
Guess how many of them were on Team Ziegler?
I'm going to say 0.
217 were
half and half
on the favor of the guy who killed the seagull.
Because seagulls are a pain in the ass.
They are a pain in the ass. So be careful if you're going to New Jersey. Not from the seagulls. Be careful for this guy named Franklin Ziegel.
I must admit, when I go to Wrigley Field and the seagulls around, about 4:00 in the afternoon, they just show up and they're just walking around the outfield. Yeah. I'm rooting for them to get hit by a ball. Yeah, I admit it. Well,
do you remember Randy? Was it Randy Jackson or Randy Johnson?
Yes.
Who threw it?
Yes.
And it was a pigeon or something.
It was a pigeon.
Right.
Yeah. Well, pigeons,
Well, seagulls are basically.
They are. Pigeon. All right. So send your angry PETA mail to David Stern. I have a story here that's a local story, Dave. We don't often do local stories. A wiener-mobile from Oscar Mayer's Noble Fleet was involved in a rollover crash on a busy Chicago area highway on Monday morning, officials said. The truck, which is shaped like a hot dog on a bun. Have you seen the wiener-mobile?
Sure, of course.
It struck a Hyundai sedan.
Did you have a whistle?
I did.
You had the wiener whistle when you were a kid, right?
Of course. You can't live in Chicago without Oscar Mayer being a big part of you. Anyway, it hit a sedan around 11 o'clock in the morning. Both were going north on Interstate 294. The hot dogger, which is what they call the driver of the wiener-mobile, lost control and overcorrected, causing the vehicle to flip onto its side, according to Illinois State Police. And no injuries were reported in the crash. Now, Oscar Mayer, the company, said, we're grateful that everybody's involved. Everybody involved is safe. There were no injuries. We're offering ongoing support for our hot doggers. We appreciate the support we've received from local authorities. Safety on the road is a top priority for us, which is a wonderful message. But don't get me wrong. I'm thankful that they got the police help. Okay. But if they heard...
When are the dad jokes coming, Rick?
If they heard the audio of the police scanner as they were going to this thing, and while they were there, I mean, I've written some of the things down that were overheard on the police scanner.
I can't relish what they possibly could have gone through.
Well, that's one of them. One of the cops said, some people hate hot dogs. I relish them. Another one, when he was talking to the driver, said, I need you to tell me the truth. Be a frankfurter. And another guy said, it's definitely not a felony. It's more like a Mr. Wiener.
Well, he was just trying to catch up to the traffic.
So you're saying you took a turn for the worst. Must be tough going through the tunnels. Is it hard? It's got to be to enter. Why do hot dogs make such bad cars? Because most of them are inbred.
Oh, okay.
No, that's a dad joke, right? What do you call a scary hot dog with nothing in it?
What?
A Halloweenie. A Halloweenie. What did the Buddhist say to the hot dog?
Show's over at 2:30.
What did the Buddhist say to the hot dog car driver?
What
did the Buddhist say to the hot dog car driver? Make me one with everything. Oh, now that one's deep, right? Hot dog and a hamburger walk into a bar. Bartender immediately tells them, I'm sorry, but we don't serve food here.
Ah, I got that.
A guy
Why the long
to...
face, Horsey? How long did it take you to write that?
No, I'm still going. A guy claimed to have a...
Were these AI generated at all?
A guy claimed to have a 20-pound hot dog. His butcher said, oh, that's baloney. Okay, yeah. Anyway.
So we took... Yeah, I've got a wiener story.
I guarantee you that some of these things were being said by the cops on the scene.
Absolutely.
I guarantee it.
So we picked up Aaron and a friend from Six Flags on Saturday at like 10 o'clock at night. Okay. By the way, have you been to Six Flags? I mean, I didn't go into Six Flags.
Yeah.
When was the last time you were around Six Flags?
20 years ago.
Oh my God. At 10 o'clock when it comes out, these kids are coming out. They're all wasted.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, Aaron wasn't, but.
Oh, you mean like vaping and
yeah,
stuff?
Yeah. I mean, it was just. I mean, and then they get into their cars. And now I'm sounding like an old man.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, we picked them up at Six Flags, and Aaron goes, "Hey, can we go to the Wiener Circle?"
Oh, okay.
And for those of you who don't know,
it's a Chicago tradition.
Right. It's a hot dog stand.
It's a hot dog stand where people are really mean to you when you order food.
We go up there, and we got there like 10.
And it's shtick.
It is. It's so we get there, and the woman goes to me, "Hey, motherfucker, what do you want?" And that is how they start.
Yeah.
Kids loved it.
Yeah. One town that won't let you down.
And we went there at like 10:30.
Yeah.
At like 1 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
Just absolute.
My brother used to live right down the street from there. I went there a lot when we lived in the city, and I enjoyed getting berated. It was fun.
Very racist.
Oh my God, yes. And most of the people that are there, working there, are African Americans.
They're all African American,
right? Exactly.
This is their
racist against the whitey.
Yeah, which is totally cool. Hey, I got a review.
Oh, okay.
This is from RMA on Apple Podcasts. Love the Cheech and Chong bit.
Oh,
funny show with great guests. Perfect length for a workout. You know, we must have the most physically fit listeners, right? Because
I'm going to say no.
Okay, well, everybody says it's great for a workout. They can't be.
I'm going to say it's not true.
So,
all right, time for another feature.
Time now for Studio Walls.
And the words of the prophets were written on the studio walls. Rick and Dave.
So this is the part of the show where we dip into the Rick and Dave archives, which are vast, and we find things from this week in history that tie in. And actually, this is kind of a sad one. Walter Shapiro died this week. He was a noted political commentator for newspapers and magazines for 50 years. He was 77, passed away. We had the honor of having Walter on our show, but we didn't talk about politics at all, if you remember.
Right.
We talked about his book, Hustling Hitler, which was about his uncle, Freeman Bernstein. Walter never met him, but he heard stories about him his whole life. And then when he Googled him, he realized he had a book on his hands. And should we just let him tell that story? Sure. Here it is. This is Walter Shapiro from a couple years ago.
The first thing that pops up, because he had a distinctive name, Freeman Bernstein. If he had a name like Sam Bernstein, like his brother, I'd still be waiting for proctologists from Minneapolis. Yeah. But the first thing that pops up, metal dealer denies bilking Hitler, arrested. It turns out that here is my great uncle Freeman Bernstein, arrested at the corner of Hollywood and Vine in the back of a chauffeured limousine in early 1937, a little after midnight, having just left Mae West's apartment.
Yeah, everybody's got a great uncle. If I had a nickel for every time that happened.
Oh, well, let's merely say that a lot of nickel went into this scam. The scam actually had been that nickel turns out to be a war material. And it was real, and the best nickel was in Canada, and you couldn't get it. But Freeman and a bent nickels dealer out of Toronto spread the word that they had 200 tons of nickel.
And by spreading the
word,
what
they actually had was 20 pounds of nickel, which they bought from a metal shop in Lower Manhattan, and 200 tons of scrap metal, which they bought from the scrap metal dealer in Toronto. One of the great tricks that if you're going to pull off a scam is load the metal on a boat leaving Halifax, Nova Scotia harbor in early March when the temperature is -9 below.
Yeah, because no one's going to check
Very few people. Under those circumstances, very few people are motivated to closely check the cargo.
Yeah.
So what happened is the boat arrives in Hamburg. As my great-uncle Freeman later said, if you melted it down, there's probably a little nickel in there somewhere. He took off for the Orient, where he had crowned himself as the Jade King of China, which was it was like King Arthur and the Sword of the Stone. It was sort of a magical investiture. He comes back having smuggled various stones into the country with the help of one of the dogs who always traveled with him. I don't need to go into details. And he was showing it. He was trying to sell the jewels to Mae West right before he was arrested. And what I quickly learned, I'd written an earlier book, I had a couple of failed book projects, but what I quickly learned is if you can write a book proposal with Mae West and Adolf Hitler in the first paragraph, and neither is a metaphor, you'll probably sell the book.
Yeah. There it is.
That's great.
Walter Shapiro.
How much did they I don't remember, how much did the Nazis pay for that?
Oh, it was millions.
It was
millions. Yeah. And it was just a total scam, I mean, as he mentioned. And we love it because he was hustling Hitler. That's the name of the book. But he was, remember when we talked to him in the middle of the interview, he got a call from the doctor. From the doctor. They had to take the call.
Right. You know, as we're doing, this is what, our 7th year doing this? 8th year?
Yeah.
Some of our guests are.
I know. By the way, that's episode number 127 of Minutia Man Celebrity Interview, Hustling Hitler author Walter Shapiro.
Hey, fire up the Florida jingle. Can you do that? Or
thanks for the heads up.
I'm sorry. I just realized when I said that I didn't fill out the appropriate PO beforehand.
Here we go.
What's wrong with you, Florida?
Florida police tell people to stop taking selfies with depressed black bear.
I didn't know that there were bears in Florida.
Well, police in Florida are urging people to stop taking selfies with a depressed black bear spotted loitering morosely on a roadside. That is from the article. I don't use the word morosely generally, but I think
I don't see that.
The unhappy animal took up residence on the north side of Highway 98 in Santa Rosa Beach earlier this week, and according to a Facebook post by the Walton County Sheriff's Office, quickly attracted unwanted attention from passing motorists. Onlookers were trying to take selfies with the bear, and he's clearly not in the mood for pictures. The bear has shown signs of severe stress, the post said. Well, perhaps he's just realizing that he lives in Florida. That's maybe why he's bummed out. It described the large male bear as stressed, depressed, and urged the public not to approach the black bear at any time, especially those showing any aggression to the big fella. Perfect sense.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Rangers from the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission were dispatched to investigate large crowds of onlookers that stopped to take pictures of the bear, who was sitting just beside a telegraph line.
Bummed out.
However, when wildlife rangers arrived, they not only found people taking photos, but also there was a young man in his early 20s trying to get the bear to wear a top hat.
Oh, my God.
Was it did the Grateful Dead have the bear with a top hat? What is...
Yeah.
There is some bear like in a top hat, right?
Yeah.
Also...
Oh, my God. You dumbass.
Allegedly, moments before, someone tried to get the bear to eat a Klondike bar for a photo op.
Oh, get it?
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. Which... Admittedly, those would be cool pics.
They would be, but yeah.
So, did I ever tell you the story?
So they get away with it? I mean, they're okay, right? No one got killed.
I think it's fine. And the bear ended up.
So the bottom line is it worked.
It's fine. No
fine.
problem. But I think I may have told you the story when we were. This is like 40 years ago.
Yeah.
I was at Lincoln Park Zoo, and do you remember the camel? You went to Lincoln Park.
Yeah, sure. Many
They
times.
had the camel exhibit where they had that bridge over.
Yes, I do remember that.
And people would feed the camels stuff.
Okay.
Well, there was this one guy who took a Burger King shake. I don't know if it was strawberry or whatever, and dumped it on the camel's head.
Oh my
So he's
God.
sitting there with the camels walking around with
That's terrible.
With the cup on his head, and the shake is dripping down the sides of his faces. So this big tongue is constantly trying to grab.
Oh my God.
I swear to God, it was the funniest thing I've ever. I mean, it was horrible for the poor bear or for the poor camel. But I got to tell you, I watched that for like 25 minutes and everybody was cheering and laughing. So,
well, this episode is like an animal stories episode.
Right.
We had the seagull. We got the bear. I've got a story about gerbils and hamsters.
Okay.
Would you like to hear it?
Yes. It's almost like we thematically plan these out.
But we don't. As Columbus police officers took a man into custody outside a Far West strip mall, this is in Columbus, Ohio, early Tuesday morning, they made a surprising discovery. There's multiple gerbils in his pants, one of the officers says. Body camera footage, and you can check this out. I mean, it doesn't, the audio doesn't translate, but you can watch it and you'll be like, oh my God. A 31-year-old man shows an officer using scissors to cut the legs, and this is a true story, off the leopard print onesie that the man was wearing. All right. He was wearing a leopard print onesie, and there were two small animals. Inside the right pant leg, there were two small animals. The officer grabbed one in each hand and shepherded them away to safety. The suspect has multiple gerbils in his pants, the officer relayed to dispatchers. Then a dog collar was found in the man's pant leg, according to body camera footage. Officers then asked the man about other animals and their locations. And this is, I'm not making this up. One officer says, please don't tell me there's gerbils anywhere else. And then another officer says, for your safety, is there a gerbil inside of you? While initially classified...
No.
What? That would be crazy. While initially classified by police as gerbils, the animals were actually hamsters.
Okay.
All right. So,
which it's a mistake that people make.
People make that mistake. The animals are believed to have come from a shopping center. So it sounds like this guy was some sort of a freak, was using them for nefarious things. Yeah. But actually, he was an animal rights activist. He had let out all the animals from this store, from this pet store, to save them, to rescue them so they were not in captivity anymore.
Is he just letting them out in a park?
Yes, he was just going to let them out in the wild where all the hamsters roam.
Hamsters are going, where's the wheel? Where's the food that people give me every day?
So, I mean, let's call this the opposite of the seagull decapitating story.
Did you have gerbils and hamsters?
No, never.
So we had gerbils, and
Roger and Pete.
Well, those were college gerbils.
Okay,
I had them when I was a little kid.
All right,
and we had Bonnie and Clyde got it on, and there was just lots and lots of subsequent gerbils. Right?
Yeah.
They are. Horny little bastards.
Right.
So we had to start. So we started, 2 turned to 5, turned to 15 or whatever.
Yeah.
And we didn't know what the hell to do with them. And they started to kill each other.
Oh, fun.
And they started to, they had incestuous relationships.
Wow.
Right? So
this is like a mini-series.
Like the third generation, gerbils started to be born with 3 legs.
Inbred.
Just
like a hot dog. Inbred.
Oh, very good. But so we started naming the gerbils like, okay, there's 3 Paw.
Oh.
There's Limpy.
Cletus.
There's Stumpy. Right. There's Cletus. There's Otis.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. So there you go. So if you want to get 3-legged hamsters or gerbils.
Just let them go. Just let them go. Like that man was going to do in the park somewhere. All right, time for another feature.
A random name pulled out of Rurik's bowl of brushes with celebrities. Mixture, collection, selection, assemblage, medley, assortment, variety. Time now for Celebrity Potpourri with Rick and Dave.
So now this is the part of the show where people send us their stories about brushes with celebrities. And we weren't on last week because Dave had COVID. Mm-hmm. But it turned out to be a pretty big week for celebrity deaths.
Yeah.
I mean, we just talked about Walter Shapiro,
right.
But,
Bob Newhart passed away.
Bob Newhart, Dr. Ruth passed away, Richard Simmons, a bunch of people. And this kind of happens when there are big celebrity deaths. I often get little notes saying, hey,
did you ever meet blah, blah,
right.
blah? Right.
And actually, I got one from 3 different people about those 3 different people. So I'm going to just tell the stories as I remember them from those people. I'll start with Bob Newhart, right?
Loved Bob Newhart.
Chicago icon, right? I actually knew the whole backstory of how he got started in the business. Ever heard this story?
Is he in advertising or something?
He was like an accountant.
Okay.
But he would do these wacky man-on-the-street bits with his buddy and record them and send them to radio stations. Okay. And there was a guy who did mornings in Chicago named Dan Sorkin, who was a morning man at WCFL Radio, which is a big radio station in Chicago in the late 50s, early 60s. Dan Sorkin thought they were funny, invited Bob into the studio to do some of the bits on the air. he did the bits on the air, and then the next week, some guy from Warner Brothers Records comes in. Dan Sorkin says, hey, I know this guy who's really funny. You should check him out. He hears the bit, loves the bit, books him into the some nightclub in Dallas, records the concert. It's the Button-Down Mind of Bob Newhart. It sells 1.5 million copies.
Yeah, that's great.
What a story.
Yeah. That's great.
So anyway, I've interviewed him a couple times over the years. One time it was about that. One time it was about the Cubs in 1945. But the funny story is one time we were having him on with Landecker. And it was on the phone. And we had just started at this radio station, and they had not put in a phone system for guests. They were just playing music. They didn't know how to do any of that stuff. And so every time we tried to get him on the phone would crap out.
Okay.
And so I would have to call him back. I'm like, oh, my God, I got to call back Bob Newhart. Yeah, hi, Bob. Listen, we're having phone
Hi, Bob.
problems.
Did you drink then? That's what he said. Hi, Bob.
So he was very nice and gracious. The second time, he was nice and gracious. The third time, he was laughing his ass off because he thought we were doing
a bit.
One of his phone bits.
Okay,
he used to do those bits where he pretends
right.
that. So, but he was great. He was a very funny man. Dr. Ruth, it's a quick story. Yeah. We were in LA, Los Angeles in 1980.
85-ish, 4-ish, 3-ish?
Yeah, somewhere around there. And she was doing a radio show, having it syndicated. We met with her, got a picture taken with her. She was like the size of, this coffee
hamster.
cup. Yeah,
right.
The hamster,
right.
tiny woman. But I've got a picture. I can post that somewhere. Richard Simmons, quick story. Richard Simmons was on Landecker's show also. One of our first guests in studio. Great storyteller. He was magnetic on the air. He was bouncing off the walls, flamboyant, really funny. And then Landecker made one crack that was, like a little off color, and he got mad. And then he never came back on again.
Really?
Yeah. But he was, I guess he became a recluse in his later years. But
yeah, there's a podcast, Searching for Richard Simmons.
Right.
Which is about, he he was really involved in the community and then one day just stopped.
Yeah.
Keith Richards outlived Richard Simmons.
I know.
So
I know
how you got the physical guru, the physical fitness guru, and Keith Richards.
Yeah,
and Keith Richards wins.
It's just inexplicable that he's still around. All right, we have people to thank. First, thanks to Dave's doctor for getting him back on his feet.
I didn't call him. I just powered through by my.
Did you?
Yeah, I used Mr.
That's
Google.
the way I do it.
I used to my doctor is Google.
Okay.
Dr. Google.
Dr. WebMD.
Yeah.
And also thank you to Tony Lasano, our executive producer. We got to thank Ed Silla.
Yeah, but both of them sent me a really nice bouquet.
Did they?
The Get Well bouquet was
really. Did you get the one I sent?
No, I didn't.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, for me, I was actually checking on you more than I usually do.
Yeah.
You got to,
because I'm older.
Well, we're getting to that age where I worry about you. Great Talk Radio is not dead. It's just moved to a better place, and that's radiomisfits.com. And we'll be back again next week, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
What do we?
We'll see.
Are you going to make it?
I got a sinus thing going on. I don't know.
With another episode of
Minutia Man.
The proceeding was a presentation of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Find our other great shows on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and at radiomisfits.com. Thank you.
This has been a presentation of Opie Productions.
Tony, can you shut up?
Radio Misfits promo take 24.
Guys, we are part of Radio Misfits Podcast Net.
Radio Misfits, you idiots.
We are part of...
I didn't really make it intended to be a tongue twister. When
I know.
When I named it.
We are part of the Radio Misfits Podcast.
Promo 26. I'll be here all day.
We are part of Radio Misfit Podcast Network. And
close enough for government.
Yeah, close enough, huh?
Let me say it. Radio Misfits. Douchebags who can't speak. Hear it on the World Wide Web.